I wanted to show you guys what I'm working with over here. Um, there's always something kind of going awry, whether it be the volume or the lights or the air or other things. um, Service people's outside, or I don't know, the power in general. The water has been a subject before. Uh, all kinds of stuff. So it's really challenging. But uh, one thing that I have been trying to find solace in is sort of keeping track of all of the things I do in a day. It's not, you know, like absolutely, exhaustive. But for instance, there are different challenges. I've been doing this 2 months, and they've had different challenges depending on, I don't know, I guess, their quarterly calendar. They're doing boho birds right now. Um, it's it's fun because I get to take this little avatar along on some adventures. We spent like a month in Rome, and they were doing like everything Italy themed. Um, we got like 50% through with that. What does it call it? Agenda or whatever. And I clicked a button, and now we are in London. So everything is England themed. It's just been a few days, but it's pretty cute. I am having some issues with some of the goals. How can I do this so it looks like normal? Vinci in London. I have to it's so hard. I'm dragging this down so you don't see like all of the other stuff. Um, but for example, they say like eat a healthy meal, and they say take a stretch break. I have been failing to name one person that cares for me, and I know that that sounds pathetic, but I just don't really talk to people. And I feel like I could presume that they care, but I just don't really feel like that because of how long we go and for like how major I'm feeling, and I don't get to really express that to anyone directly. So I feel like I needed more. I needed more accountability. I needed more posterity because I've been having a hard time. But anyways, I've made a couple of goals that, because they list a bunch to choose from. But I feel like I do a really good job staging my stuffed animals. And yes, I was sent one. Yes, I procured one before I got here. Yes, I found one or two here. So, anyways, really trying to be mindful of my belongings, and so I added for connection that I take my toys. I tuck my toys in for rust, for example. That's what I mean by staging them is, I'm not just gonna like throw it on the floor or something like that. I have to like display it somehow. And I spend a lot of time in the day doing that. So it's challenging because when I was younger, people used to give me a hard time, like about playing or things like this. And I didn't really get it because it was just never fun to act like whatever with dolls or whatever like this. I just never liked that. But I think what I do is playing, even though I'm like not laughing or I don't know. I mean, sometimes I animate, a sort of response about things. But basically, it's a way to demonstrate, hygiene or, things like this, that I can do this. I can, I can take, I can set a stuffed animal on the toilet and it's not going to get dirty because I clean, stuff like that. Like, I am ginger about it. It doesn't fall off, and like knock something. No, that's how I have to live here. That's how I get by, is by, you know, tiptoeing around. That's how I've always lived. But now I'm a freaking ballet dancer, so I gotta step on my game, you hear what I'm saying? Anyways, little bit about me. That week with the Wi-Fi off, I feel like was totally necessary. And unfortunately, I know that there were repercussions that were not, supposed to be directly correlated. And, that's kind of the irony of my condition, is that there's an assumption that, because I grocery shop, that I have what I need to feel good, to be healthy, etc. I still have an extremely difficult time doing that. And like this morning, like I woke up, I was just like feeling so bad. I had to take my Midol bloat and I had to take an Alka-Seltzer. And, I mean, this happens a lot. I'm an experienced person. But yeah, so just about, getting what I need is that I do try really hard. I put in a lot of effort. I fail, I'm unhappy. And it's not because I have what I need. It's because I try to. And people really don't seem to understand that. It's that, like, I'm not a good cook, and heaven forbid there's something auspicious involved. But for what it's worth, I mean, people shouldn't assume that everything works out. They should prepare for, people failing to plan and, failing to be responsible. And, but, I feel like it shouldn't be just an assumption, welfare and lifestyle things considered. Freaking disperse that. Allocate that. Freaking, I want it. What you afraid of? Send it. Push the button. Do it. I don't know, man. It's like, no, I don't think it should just materialize. That is the thing about it, is that, like, why I'm a bad cook. Because other people use magic. Either the magic of ignorance or the magic of, you know, luxury. And it makes a difference. So, yeah, I'm just thinking about how, like, the same subject or like the same exact translation, it can come across, you know, a multitude of different ways, depending on who's saying it. And that's why it's so difficult, because you can imagine, or you can, you know, sort of identify characters or personalities, but until it's taken personally, like how that, you know, it's like, I'm personally offended that Leonardo DiCaprio is famous because that's why we don't have a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to take it personal. And no, yeah, that's crazy. But I make a lot of concessions. I do a lot of parceling and parlaying of my resources and, you know, accommodations. And I keep hitting this bottom line that keeps getting lower, you know. And that's all the indication, that's all the sign that I need to know that my life could be better. And don't, you know, like, don't be a bitch about it. Like, if any one person thoughtfully wanted to do something, you know, it would make a difference. I'm on hard times. I mean, that in and of itself, but, like, you know, you should always want to be a neighbor. You should always, you know, like, I'm torn up because I got my duplex neighbor telling me that the duplex on the other side of him has someone who died. And I was like, on Facebook, I was like, you know, we had a phone number exchange. I see a post talking about spreading his ashes somewhere. And, you know, and it's like, you're not gonna I've been here over 5 years, and you didn't come knocking on my door to introduce yourself. You know what I mean? Like, now we doing big girl stuff like this, and it's like, no, that's not good enough, you know. Just so major. And then, you know, the reality of it is that, like, there was no plot, you know, development. There was no, like, whatever. It was like just always cut and dry like this. And that's no way to live, you know. So I don't know. It definitely feels different in here. I don't know what to say, but beat myself up about it. I tried to scream, like, genuinely, and, like, barely a whisper came out. And yeah, I just, you know, it's hard. This accountability challenge on Finch is about music, and it's so, it just what's the word for like, I don't know, infamous, because I've been having such a hard time. You know, my volume is hijacked. Like, all of my technology gets manipulated. either turned down or turned off, like at random times. And so that's super annoying. You know, I've never really been too stressed out about algorithms because I've just always known that I would be censored like that. I just always felt that. It's really hard, you know, because I don't have like a good memory. And so trying to develop a playlist, an album, even just like any sort of knowledge about what I like is really difficult because there's so many votes that say like, no, that's not appropriate, or like, oh, that's, you know, a one-hit wonder or whatever. What's the word for that? Word for one hit. What do they call it? It's not solo song, like, no, they're not. See, and it happens like this too with information. Like if I try to look something up, it's not just like the products of things, it's the processes of things. I've always known that I was hindered in that way, and that's why I have such a hard time. People are like, oh, well, you know, we all do the same thing, and it's like, no, we don't. So anyways, yeah, I'm taking it personal. I'm less flattered, and you know, I really want people to know just how much goes into the glimmer of hope or peace that I accomplish. I wrote a dozen civil rights cases. I've had the police here more than a dozen times. You know, I've tried everything. I've applied to more than a dozen places in the neighborhood, and you know, I done dozens of things dozens of times, and I still hear the criticism. I still hear hatred, and I still feel rejected, and it's just exceptional. So, yeah, I've got these curtains up, like this one, and it's not black. I called it a blackout curtain, but it does accomplish that. They're made of like, what's it called? Canvas. So, no, light still comes through, but it does, it does a lot. I've got it up here ghetto on a tension rod, but that is my condition, and I just wish that we could have a little more clarity about that, a little more, you know, acknowledgement that like things are broken here. Big deal, because it is, but this window is broken right here. You see? It's taped together. And the windows don't come out. Like these ones are screwed in. I did take a panel off of all the windows. There's two. But they rattle all day long. And guess what? One of them's already broken. I moved in and it was like that. Like, things are not okay. So, bless your heart for being a hater. But when I, you know, when I say like, oh, like, benefit of the doubt, like, you don't know that I'm not happy, I very politely try to say to whoever I speak to, I'm a very unhappy person. And I don't know how else to put it. Like, don't be a jerk. If you could just pretend to be nice, you might get a clue. And then, you know what? It ain't that you gotta be cruel to be kind, all right? It's Barbie girl in a Barbie world, but I don't like to play with dolls. So don't blame me. You know what I'm saying? All right, bye.